Hello, how is everyone? I am back to being Doc from Back to the Future. All because pre-recording and all that jazz. Something's going on with my mic and I don't know what's going on with... I think we found it. Have we? Maybe not. Don't know. Anyway, today in your world, it is Friday the 27th of December. In my world, it is not. This whole pre-recording and because normally, you all know, I'm last minute everything, lastminute.com. Not the actual website, just my brain. And I do things because I work better when I am rushed, if that makes sense. I work better when I do things last minute because then I know that things don't need to be adjusted or taken out or put in, or that's what he said, etc, etc. So I'm not very good at remembering where I am when I'm pre-recording or what day I'm supposed to be on in your world and in my world. Is completely that just baffles me. It's like, do you know your soaps, they're recorded, I think it's either 6 weeks in advance, and obviously movies and your Netflix documentaries or programmes or whatever are all recorded maybe a couple of years in advance. I don't think I could live in that world. That's awful. That is definitely, my brain would think I was living in 2 different dimensions. I couldn't be going back to the future and forward to the future. No, back to the past. Back to the Future's the name of the film, isn't it? I couldn't be going back and forth, and I'm in 2024 this week and next week I'm in 2030. If you can live in that reality, I highly applaud you, because I'm only trying to work 2 weeks in advance here, even sometimes a week, depending what day where the podcast is going out, and I've got a bit of paper sitting next to me telling me today is, and then I've got to tell you what day yous are on, but what day I'm on is different. I'm not telling you what day I'm on. That could give the game away. Anyway, today, what are we talking about today? Today we're talking about the whole overwhelming situation of Christmas. I mean, I've just told you how overwhelmed I am at just trying to remember what day yous are on and what day I'm on and what week am I on and what month are you on. Have I confused you yet? Because I've confused me. So it can get very overwhelming, because especially anybody that's neurodivergent, because you're built up so much of the last month or two looking forward to Christmas, because the minute Halloween's done with and everybody starts focusing on Christmas, don't they? Like Christmas decorations, Christmas prep. If you're anything like me, you've already started your Christmas shopping. Some people have already finished their Christmas shopping, and I also know people that have already wrapped all their presents, just waiting to put them under the tree by the time Halloween is over with, which, you're a different species to me. I don't do any wrapping until Christmas Eve unless I'm going to see you before Christmas Eve. If I'm seeing you before Christmas Eve and I'm giving you your present because I might not see you after New Year, then your present's getting wrapped 5 minutes before you come in my door or 5 minutes before I leave my house. There is no forward thinking in that at all. Not a chance. I've got too much going on in my life for me to be organised at all. I've got to organise 2 businesses and I've got to organise 2 children. I am not organising myself at the same time. That's never happening. I'm a chaotic mess, but it works, and I only admit it. Like, I mean, my sons would be a bit more brutal when describing me, but we're not asking their opinion. Their opinion is not asked for in this podcast episode. Thank you kindly, sir. So, if you're the type of person that has put all your energy into thinking about Christmas and thinking about the day of and getting excited about it and looking forward to it, and who's going to be round about you Christmas Day, and where are you going to be, and are you going to maybe see people on Christmas Eve, or are you going to go to the cinema? Are you going to go and see the Christmas lights? Are you going to do this? Are you going to do that? And your mind goes 100 miles an hour. Neurodivergent people, anybody that is neurodivergent, I really didn't word that right the first time, did I? They especially get very overwhelmed because, number one, and probably one of the most important things, is their routine is out the window. Sorry, I'm unwell at the minute. Very, very unwell. So if I start panting, bring me some oxygen, please. And routine is a big thing for anybody in that situation. So it might be that they normally get up at 6 in the morning and everybody else gets up at the same time as them, but they might still get up at 6 and nobody else is getting up to 10. That will throw them off course. That will completely confuse them. It might be they normally go to school, or they normally go to work or college, or maybe they stay in the house all day themselves and everybody else is out at school and working college, but now everybody's together for at least a day or two because most places close down. So they've got all that to deal with, and then you've got the hustle and bustle of the actual Christmas Day, and you've opened your presents, and then maybe everybody's kicking about in their pyjamas and having a lazy day and blah blah blah, and they're like, right, hold on, their wee brains are like, or big brains, because they're very, very intelligent people, far more intelligent than me, but that's not saying very much, is it, as we know. So yeah, they can get very overwhelmed, but then so can Joe Bloggs down the street, who isn't neurodivergent, because you don't have to be autistic, ADHD, or anybody that in that sort of category to get overwhelmed. Some people just like their own company. Some people just like small circles. Not everybody wants to be around every single family member at the one time. Not everybody wants to be visiting 101 people over the space of 2 days, 4 days, 10 days, 2 weeks, whatever it might be. So we need to kind of take that into consideration, and then what do you do in that case? Do you force them to do something just because you want to do it, or do you allow them to be chilled? Now, you all know me well enough to know what I'm going to say here, don't you? When it comes to neurodivergency, it is much easier for you to step into their world than it is for them to step into your world. So, you fit in with them, you do not force them to fit in with you, because you can make their whole situation so much worse. You can make their mental health so much worse. And it's about being mindful. Remember that word, because we've not said it for a wee while, and we will be saying it very much over the next 2 weeks. So, being mindful, especially, or not even especially, doesn't matter what age they are. I was going to say especially children and teenagers, but not even, because it doesn't matter what age anybody is. If they do not feel comfortable in a situation, they should never be forced. Would you force somebody in any other walk of life? No, you would not, unless you are not a very nice person. And in that case, yes, you should be spoken to by the appropriate authorities if you're forcing anybody to do anything. But we'll leave that one for another day, because this is about Christmas. So, how do we rectify it? How do we do it? And this all depends on what age the person is. So if it's a small child, they obviously need some sort of adult supervision. So again, you don't force them to do anything. Maybe instead of you going to visit other people, they come and visit you, which means your child can be in their bedroom, your dining room, your living room, whatever, playing with their toys while you're still having company from friends, family, whoever. If it's a teenager and they are able to stay home alone, give them the option. Again, depends on their age, it depends on their capabilities, it also depends on if they want to stay home alone, if they like staying home alone, because there are many who they might be okay to stay home alone for half an hour or an hour, but after that they're like, want everybody to come home now. It might be that they aren't of sound mind to look after themselves, so you wouldn't, and again, that would mean potentially asking people to come to you rather than vice versa. But if they can stay home alone, go out and visit for an hour or 2 hours. You just need to think about how you can work it, look outside the box. If it's an adult and you're inviting them to yours and they feel uncomfortable doing that, then can you maybe go to theirs? Can you go and visit them? Would they feel more comfortable if you went to them rather than them coming to you? Sensory, all these different things, because if you're going to take somebody who's got sensory issues into somebody else's house, and obviously depends on the sensory issues, so you've got touch, you've got taste, you've got textures, you've got smell, you've got noise. So if it's going to be very noisy and somebody's sensitive to noise, you maybe wouldn't put them in the environment. If it's smell, then say for example somebody's got like a plug-in air freshener or a candle burning, you could maybe say to them, could you switch it off or could you put the candle out just while, and explain the reason. And if somebody is a nice person, a mindful person, an empathetic person, then they won't mind doing that while you're within their home, and because there's nothing to stop them as soon as you leave to turn it back on, light the candle again. If you're not very clued up on sensory issues and you do want a bit more information, you can message me. Sensory issues, it can be hard to realise that somebody's got sensory issues. It did take me a long time to realise it with my son. And any sensory issues that you can point out, that child has it. We don't just decide that we want to have one or two wee quirks. We want them all. We want them all. Thank you kindly, sir. So yeah, I genuinely didn't know. But this is all about learning. And obviously, my son's been autistic a lot longer than I've been a therapist. I knew some things about autism, and I've learned the rest of it as we've went along. One of the things about when somebody's diagnosed with autism, which infuriates me, and you probably will hear me talking about it quite a lot over time, over the course of however many podcasts I end up doing in the future, episodes, seasons. Hopefully I'll be here for a long time, but I'm sure you'll hear me talking about it. I knew from my son was very, very little that there was something, and it wasn't until he was maybe about 2 or 3 where I was like, it's definitely autism. Potentially ADHD as well, but we've never been tested for ADHD, but that's a whole other story. We'll get into that one another day, because the autism diagnosis was a journey on itself, let alone asking them to, I mean, why would you ask the health service to do something correctly when they can do it wrong, when they can mess it up, you know? Why would you expect anything else? And yeah, the health service has messed up quite a lot of things over the years that I've witnessed with my own eyes and my own ears. But again, that's for another episode. But yeah, I knew, my son started nursery when he was 2, and I knew well before that. And I used to always say to my health visitor, she'd be like, oh, don't be sick. No, he's absolutely fine, blah, blah, blah. I mean, I called my son a devil child, but that was a joke. We all called him it because he was blooming crazy. I mean, it bit a lumps out his big brother just for looking at him the wrong way, but that's siblings. They all do it, don't they? But I mean, there was 7.5 years of difference between them, and he was the younger one beating up the older one, which maybe tells you something. But what was I saying? So yeah, so I knew there was something, and I had an idea it was that, but I wasn't 100%, and I needed somebody to basically validate my thoughts. So he started nursery at 2. Me, myself and I, because I was the only person fighting his corner, and I was the only parent he had in his life. So I was continuously asking people who should be noticing things and who should be pointing things out to me as well. And they're like, no. But I did have severe mental health problems at that time, and I genuinely do think that a lot of it was people saying, oh my god, she's crazy, she's got mental health problems, and she's just seeing things that aren't there, or she's just imagining things, or we just don't listen to her. We just don't listen. I think that's probably more the thing. Like, they just don't listen. They just think you've got mental health problems, so why would you talk sense? Why would you think rationally at any point in your life? And my son started nursery. So when both my boys were young, you started nursery at 3-year-old. I don't know if it's still the same now. I don't know if it's still 3, or like you got your placements at 3, but you could go to a private nursery or whatever before that. But within your sort of council area, you got so many hours. I think it's like 15 hours free. Once you turn 3, I'm sure the hours have went up, but I don't know if the age has changed, if it's went down or if it's still 3-year-old. But anyway, that's by the by. But he was put on the list to start nursery early from 7 months because of my health issues, and he finally got a place at 2-year-old. And I didn't ask for him to be put on the waiting list for that. At that point, it was my health visitor. She's like, I think you could be doing maybe a bit of help, blah blah blah, I'll give you some time and whatever. And I'm like, no, it's fine. And anyway, and don't get me wrong, I loved it, and they made a good few friends. But they should have picked up a lot of things, and I think probably any parent, and I do, like any parent would have, is resentment towards people who kept saying, no, Aileen, just shut up, basically. Because my son could have been getting a lot more help and support than what he ever has had. I mean, he's basically had nothing apart from me. And one, maybe, teacher to, you could count in one hand how many teachers really have supported him since he was in primary school. But yeah, it's crazy how the world works. But then obviously did get the diagnosis, and once you get a diagnosis, you're kicked to the curb. You're told, right, that's you, you've got your bit of paper, see you later, never shall you recross paths again. And you've got to kind of figure everything out for yourself and research everything for yourself, rather than the people that do actually know what's going on and do know about all these different things telling you. So I didn't realise that when my son wasn't eating certain foods when he was young, it was because he had sensory issues. I thought he was just a fussy eater. I thought he was just never had an appetite. I thought all these different things. And then when he wasn't sleeping and he was climbing, and I mean literally, not even just saying, do you know how like you say, oh, he was climbing the walls, but they weren't actually climbing the walls, they were just a bit on a sugar rush. My son was genuinely climbing up my I'm laughing, climbing up my door frames. He thought he was Spider-Man at 2-3-year-old, and he would climb up. My dad would come and visit me on a Saturday before he moved down to England. He would come over every Saturday afternoon for a couple of hours, and he would say, Aileen, I've been sitting here for 20 minutes, 15 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever it is. He says, and I'm actually absolutely knackered watching him, because he just used to run in circles or run from one room to another like a Tasmanian devil, and he wouldn't stop. And I just thought, that child is Crazy. So you've got the sensory issues with the food, and then he had the sensory issues with his clothing, which I didn't realise that either. Then he had the sensory issues with the noise. He had it with light. He's got it with you can't be in crowds, you can't do this, you can't. So I didn't realise all that, and you almost kind of feel as if you, what's the word I'm looking for, because we've got brain fog, you know what I'm saying, don't you? You almost put your child in situations that he didn't need to be in, that he struggled in, and you didn't know he struggled. And you can't feel guilty about it because you didn't know. You genuinely didn't know. It's different if you do know, you're still forcing them into that situation. So that's why I'm saying, like, if you know that somebody gets overwhelmed in a situation, do not force them to go into it, because you're making their life so much worse. And you can almost cause some kind of trauma, because if they've been forced into a situation and they really, really can't cope in it, then the next time that situation comes round, they're going to remember that moment, and they're going to almost relive it in panic. So yeah, that's my wee rant. Well, sorry, I'm really struggling here because of one, chest infection, and uno flu. Bilingual, did I ever tell you that? I'm bilingual. I mean, I'm not. I can count, and I can say, I can't remember much French for school, but I can say some words, and then I can say uno, dos, tres, cuatro, cinco, seis, and that's as much as I can say count in Spanish. I can say hola and gracias. I mean, I'm not saying it properly. I know I'm not saying it properly. I'm just saying that these are the words that I can potentially say. In French, I can say, what can I say in French? Let me think. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. No, wait a minute, am I saying that right? Aye. Right, I'm starting again, hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. See, I can count quite a lot in French. I can say a bonjour. I can say, what else can I say? Au revoir. Comment t'appelles-tu? Ça va bien, merci. I can say merci beaucoup. By the way, if you're French and you're listening to this, do not come for me if I'm not saying any of these words right. I'm trying, okay? I might be trying your patience, but I'm trying. I am trying to speak. Parlez-vous français? Is that right? Do you speak French? Parlez-vous anglais? Do you speak English? What else? No, it's not parlez-vous, it's parlez-vous. Is it parlez-vous? Somebody who's either a French teacher, speaks French, or is French, please write in, or don't write in, because I will be able to read it, but I won't be able to say it right. Send me a wee voice note or something. Tell me how I actually say it, because I can't remember. I mean, I have not done French for 30 years. I think that's actually quite good going, considering. And then in German, what can I say in German? Wait a minute. Hold up, wait a minute. Wiedersehen? Is that German? I think that's German. Another one. I'm not even going to do it because I can't remember. I just had a wee something came into my brain and went away just as quick. Voulez-vous coucher avec moi ce soir? Blame the chest infection. Not that I'm a bad singer, blame the chest infection. Okay? Merci beaucoup. I had an amazing French teacher in school. I loved her. And she went to France. I was going to say she went French. She went to France every year. I think she went to Paris every summer. She used to just kick about the school talking French, and you were meant to know what she was saying, and I'm like, they bothered at all. I loved her. She was one of my favourite teachers. I mean, she was very, very strict, but she liked me, so I never ever got in trouble. Can't say much else for the rest of the teachers. Most of them, not that they disliked me, didn't fully like me. Some of them did and some of them didn't. Most of them did when I was 12, potentially 13. After that, not so much. Gave up the ghost by that point. I just had other ideas about life and it didn't involve learning. As you can tell when I open my mouth and there's nothing comes out. Well, there is things that come out but they don't make sense. What was your favourite subject at school? We went from being overwhelmed to being at school. I think French wasn't my favourite subject, but I did like it. I loved accounts. And that's going to make me sound like a geek. And considering I am not intelligent, I loved accounts. Anything to do with numbers, I was good at. So I was good at maths. But don't be asking me to like do maths when it's got letters and triangles and all that in it and dots and whatever. Just give me some maths with some numbers, like normal maths. None of this, what do you call it? What's it called again? Algebra. I was good at that at school, but I can't remember how to do it because I've never. Who actually uses? Well, I know people do use it, right? If you're maybe a scientist or something like that, but I'm not a scientist. Why not just teach that, like once you go to university, to train for a certain job that you need to use it in? Why did I need to learn that? Because I've never tried to multiply an X by a Y by a Z by a W. Do you know what I mean? No need for that behaviour. So, yeah, anything to do with that. But I'll give you a better laugh is I was alright at English. I wasn't great. Well, no, I was good at it. But see, here we go. Here's a story for you. Do you know when you're in, you're getting ready to do exams at school and you maybe do like mock tests and mock exams in class, and then your teacher will say, or past papers, and then your teacher will come back and be like, right, you've basically failed your exam. If that was your exam, you failed. So that was me in English. I was good at reading, I just didn't really enjoy it as much, but I enjoy reading now. My problem was when I was writing. Back then, if I was writing an essay, I'd do what I do in this podcast. I start at one bit, lose track of what I'm saying, then start something else, then go back to what I said at the beginning. There's a recurring theme here, but I'm good at writing letters and things. So when I done office studies, I was good at that. So anyway, every time I done like a past paper or a mock test or anything like that in English, I failed it. Never failed it, but got like the worst mark you could get before failing. Do you know that when it came to my exams, English was my best mark? How did that happen? Who knew? Who knew I was, I don't know, an author, maybe? I was something, but I think they probably get my paper mixed up with somebody else. Somebody's changed the name on it. There was no way I was getting the mark I got that day. Although, I'm one of these people who, my cousin always says it to me. She's like, it doesn't matter what you do in life, you always pass, you always, like, if I was to do any test, I would always pass it. Failing's not, it's not that it's not an option. I just don't want to be sitting tests again. So I'll try my best, but although I try my best, I don't know how to study. And it's not so much I don't know how to study, I'm not very good at it, because I lose the will to live. No, I lose concentration very easily. I'm telling you, I've got ADHD. I lose concentration very easily, so I do crash, studying, so I leave it till it, like I said at the start, everything I do is very last minute, so I'm the same when it comes to studying. So when we were at school, I never really studied for exams at school, but see, like some driving tests, your theory test, because I was one of the first groups of people to do the theory test. My cousin passed his test, I think, in the July, and the theory test wasn't in yet, and then I sat mine in November. I think they brought it in the August, and then I sat my driving test in November, so I done I'm sure it was 8 weeks after my theory test, I'd done my driving test. So what's that? August, September time, I done my theory test. And I passed it first time. Now, don't get me wrong. The theory test was nothing like you had these days. So you had 35 questions, and you either had to get 30 or 31 right to pass. You never had the hazard and all that malarkey. It was just basically general questions to do with like signs and the use of the road and all that stuff. I mean, I couldn't tell you anything to do with the highway code apart from speed limits. And I don't even know speed limits unless there's an actual sign up. So see one of these ones where it's like the circle and it's got, see if you're a traffic police. Don't listen to this, can you switch off? Don't be see if I get pulled over by the police. Because one of you have told them, I don't know signs. But yeah, so she always says to me, you always pass everything first time. And it's not that I'm intelligent, which is clearly no, and it's not even that I think I'm better at it like that. I just don't want to be sitting anything for a second time. Like, that's stressful enough doing it the first time. Why do I want to do it again? So when I passed my theory test, we were all laughing because I literally passed it by 1 point. So I can't remember if you had to get 30 and I get 31, or if you had to get 31 and I got 31, something like that, or you had to get 30 and I had 30. I can't remember, but I literally just passed by the scraping my teeth. Skinning my teeth? Scraping my teeth, skinning my teeth. Then when it came to my driving test, I passed first time, but I was clearing out my cupboard, I think it was about a year or so ago, and I found the wee bit of paper you get when you pass your driving test, and it tells you like how many minors you had and whatever. So you were only allowed a maximum 10 minors, and then you failed. I got 8. So yet again, I passed by the skin of my teeth. And I'm sure that was the same with everything I've done in life. I've literally passed it by the skin of my teeth. I mean, relationships, nah, they're not for me. They don't work for me. Not into them. But yeah, I'm just, don't know. I don't know if I would say lucky, because if I was lucky, then surely other things in my life would be going a bit better. I just don't know. It's fine. But I was just on the phone to Danielle there, and we were having a wee discussion about something that you're going to find out about soon. And I swear, like, sometimes even when I say things to Danielle, you can hear her like sitting going, alright, how do I tell her no? You can literally hear her brain working. And I said something to her, and this phone went silent for ages. And normally me and her, we would just say, not so sure, or we'd make a joke about it. She said nothing. And I said, I'll take that as a no then. She just laughed. Oh my goodness me. So, yours are on Friday, then you've obviously got Saturday, Sunday, so you'll be, maybe some people might be back at work for one day. My son's back at work for one day, then he's off for 2 days, then he's back at work for 2 days, off for 2 days, back for a day. One of the ones, you lose track of the days, don't you? I just work all the way through. If people need me, they pick the phone up, and if they don't, then they don't. Some people are booked in anyway, and other people it's ad hoc. But then you've got Friday, and obviously Saturday, Sundays might be off. I don't know what we're doing over the weekend, probably just chilling out. Then we get interrupted there by the big child. So I can't remember what I was saying. I know it was something to do with me not being very intelligent and Danielle laughing at me, but I don't know if I moved on to anything else after that. So, that's what we were talking about. So some people will be off the weekend. Some of you might actually be working all weekend, because some employers do have a habit of making sure that you make up your hours because you got the 2 days off. They're very nice that way, you know. So yeah, some of you might be working, we just got interrupted again because they came in and they thought I was either talking to myself or messing about with something. It doesn't. I genuinely don't think my boys know anything about me. I think they're just like, she's mental. So hopefully you have got the weekend off if you don't work in retail. And then Monday, Tuesday working. Has anybody got Tuesday off? Because you might be going out on Tuesday night for the New Year's Eve. The bells, Hogmanay, whatever you call it. We call it Hogmanay in Scotland. I know we're probably the only, or one of the only places that call it that. Although there's also another way that we say Hogmanay, but I'm not actually going to say that on here. I was just about to say it and I thought, nope, I'm not saying it because it can sound a wee bit rude. Yeah, so what you're all doing for the bells ain't exciting. My son was going to go out, but then everywhere was either full or closed. He's not doing anything, I don't do anything, the wee one doesn't do anything. He likes to just stay in and either sit with me or go online with his friends if any of his friends are online. Sometimes Tracy comes down, depending. Sorry, I'm trying to breathe. Depending on whether her son's going out or not. If her son's staying in, she'll stay in with him. If not, then she might come down to me or she might go down to one of her friends. Sometimes she'll go down there. It just depends who's doing what and where everybody's going to be. But I just like staying in the house now. I'm such a homebody. I think because I enjoy staying in with my two boys, apart from anything else, but I do everything from home, so it just feels right to just stay in. And plus, we're hoping that this is going to be the last Christmas and New Year we'll be in this house. So, I am hoping to move next month, January. If not next month, definitely by February. I'm going to be going, so this is going out on, what did I say, this is going out on Friday, so today in your world, not today in my world, but today in your world, I am going to go and see a couple of letting agencies to see if they have anything suitable. So pray for me, send me all your positive thinking and positivity, anything positive, send it to me, virtually, mindfully, psychically, however you want to say it. So yeah, we're actually all starting to get excited now about the prospect of moving next month, the month after, whenever it might be. So we're all making plans. So the wee one, he's got used, doesn't even know what size of room he's going to have or where he's going to be living, but he's got his room kitted out. The older one, he's probably the same. He's already like, oh, so when we move we'll do this, when we move we'll do that, and I'm like, quick, give me a chance to find a house first. Although we have found a couple, but it's whether they're still available now, because I seen them, when did I see them? I think it was like last week for all of us, just saying. Some point, was it last week? I don't even know when I seen it, might be in the week before. But I wasn't sure about that house. And then the more I thought about it, I was like, I think I want that one. So I need to phone up about that as well, to see if that's still available. And then go and view it potentially. And yeah, let's see what happens. So pray for me. Pray for me, people. I've got a couple of friends that let out houses as well, but I just don't know if they've got anything in the area I want to be. So if any of you know of any houses or rent out any houses within the Glasgow vicinity, preferably the north side of Glasgow or even North Lanarkshire, hit me up, send me a wee message. It needs to be 3 bedrooms and it needs to have a garage. That's all I ask. And unfurnished. Because I've got children that are neurodivergent that won't touch anybody else's furniture, let alone anything else. So, yes, that's exciting. We're looking forward to that. That's one thing that we're hoping changing next year, that's getting added, changed, whatever you want to say. A few other things that are going to be changing as well. not changing, tweaking, adding to, making better, however you want to say it. I don't even know how to explain things anymore. So yes, we are excited. Honestly, a new house and a new environment can't come quick enough. It really can't. We're ready for it. We've been in this house 20 odd years and we've outgrown it massively, but also we were told 2015, so I rent this house from the council, local authority, however, depending where in the world you are, how you would describe it. And 2015 they came in, which was only meant to be for 2 weeks, so we were moving out for 2 weeks, and they were going to fix rising damp, mould, all that. Ended up that we were out the house for 3 months. So that's another story. And it was, in inverted commas, fixed. It was not fixed. There were some parts of the house that were worse, not with dampness, but in other reasons. By the time we get back in, some parts looked as if they were fixed. Within a few weeks it was coming back. We are now just over 9 years, so we moved back in the October, so we're 9 years past in October, moved back in, and this house is worse than ever. And it's nothing to do with condensation. If anybody's going to write in and say, oh, condensation, you need to leave your windows open, it's not that. It's proper rising damp, it's proper mould. We've had inspectors in, so when we moved, it was like days before or the week before we were moving out for the contractors to come in. The contractor came to pick up a set of keys for me, and he says to me, now his exact words were, and I'm not going to tell you what council area I live in just so that nothing comes back on me and they don't try and sue me, but don't worry, I'm going to sue them after I move out of here probably. You do realise that we've told them that these houses should be condemned. Now this is what you're paying for, do you know what I mean? You're paying to live in a house that they've been told that they are not habitable. Nobody should be living in them. They should be knocked down. They should be condemned. But the council would rather mask over a situation than rectify it. So, I mean, that's probably why we're always unwell and why I can't get rid of this chest infection. So that is one reason why we're moving out. There's many other reasons. We've outgrown the house, plus so many other reasons, but we'll not get into that either. So yeah, I am no longer willing to pay somebody to bump me off. I have said to all my family members that if anything does happen to us and we don't come out the other end of it due to, then they have my full permission to sue the S's off the council. So yes, I'll be happy to give them their keys back when I find somewhere new. Now don't get me wrong, I'm very grateful for having this house, and I'm very grateful for the fact I've got a roof over my head. What I'm not grateful for is a home that could potentially be making our health worse, and we are paying for that privilege. That is one thing. That is what I'm not grateful for. And plus, because we live in, so there's like, it's like flats, a cottage flats, 4 in a blocks, however you want to describe it. So, because we're the bottom flat, our houses are worse. Obviously, because rising damp only rises so high. So the houses up the stair, they'll potentially have like condensation or even mould or whatever that's coming from bits of the wall that are probably no longer there anymore on the outside. So the damp will be coming in when it's raining or whatever. But actual proper rising damp doesn't necessarily, according to somebody who probably just says things to shut you up. I don't know how true that is, but what I've been told by one of the contractors is it only rises so high. Whether that's true or not is another story. But then you will still get mould from in the upper houses or whatever, the upper flats. And I have been in some of them, some of my neighbours' houses that do have it. A couple of people that have bought houses in their street, totally regretted it after they've moved in and they've realised how bad they are. And me and Tracy have always said, anytime anybody goes to buy a house in this street, we always warn them off, and we're like, don't do it. It genuinely is not worth it, because one, a lot of insurance, now I used to work in house insurance, a lot of insurers will either put your premium up or potentially not insure you if you've got rising damp or any kind of damp or mould. Your mortgage, whoever you're getting your mortgage from, your mortgage lender, they can refuse your mortgage if they find out there's rising damp or any kind of dampness or mould within the house. So you've got to be careful of all that as well. So yeah, it's a sad situation that in 2024 we're still living in these kind of environments, and obviously a few years ago it was in the news quite a lot because there was a few deaths due to it. But it didn't fix anything. The media getting involved, they only got involved for like 1 or 2 cases, and then, but realistically there's millions of us. There is so many of us, and the people that should be listening don't listen. The ones that don't have any power to help us are the ones that listen to us. That kind of says it all, doesn't it? Sorry, I'm struggling to breathe. This flu that's going about just now is awful. Flu, stroke, chest infection. It's really, really awful. What I find about it is when you first get up in the morning, you've got no voice, blah, blah, blah. The kind of middle of the day, middle morning, lunchtime, you seem to be out, you perk up a wee bit. But that's just to make you think that you're getting better. And then within an hour, you're floored again and you can't breathe and you need oxygen. You feel like a 90-year-old that smoked 100 fags a day. What was I saying? Yeah, the people that can help won't help. The people that can't help are the ones that empathise with you and listen to you more. But I had them in, I think it was 2.5 years ago, because it was definitely before the summer and it wasn't last year, I think it was the year before, and they were looking at the dampness again and they were like, no, it definitely needs fixed, blah blah blah. There's a bit in my wall in my bathroom that's bulging. The guy touched it, the maintenance guy touched it and put a hole right through it because it just crumbled, and said, oh, I'm just worried that wall might fall on top of you one day. I'm still here 2.5 years later. I mean, thankfully the wall hasn't fell on top of any of this. But, so then they got a contractor out, and the contractor said to me, now we've got tiny bathrooms, because they're old flats, they're over 100 year old. The contractor said to me, the only problem is hens. Need to put scaffolding in to hold that wall up while I pull that bit down and rebuild it. But your bathroom's too wee for a scaffolding, so I don't know how I'm going to do that, and blah blah. Basically telling me I can't do it to help you. And I'm like, do you know that way I'm standing? And I'm like, are you actually saying this to me? So needless to say, 2.5 years later, we're still sitting in the same situation. Again, hence why one of the reasons we are moving. So yeah, but like I said, grateful of having a roof over our heads and grateful that we had this house for so long and everything else, because me and my son were homeless and whatever for a long time. So we've got a lot of memories in here as well, some good, some bad, some whatever, indifferent. But it's time to make new memories, and it's time to be able to breathe. I mean, I don't know, it's life, isn't it? You take the good with the bad, but I just need a bit more good in my life at this precise moment in time, and one of the things I need is an oxygen tank. So if anybody's got one spare, can I get a wee out of it please? Because Jesus, I think I might need a wee, what do you call them, inhaler. Go up to the local nursing home and say, excuse me, can I borrow that wee old granny's nurse, what do you call it, what did I just say a minute ago, oxygen tank, just a wee shot. Sharing's caring, as they say, you know. Anyway, I am going to leave it at that. But yeah, if you're feeling overwhelmed and you're unsure of how to kind of breathe again, how to get back into some kind of normal routine. How can you keep a routine when everybody else's routine's out the window? Do you have somebody in your family who has sensory issues or potentially sensory issues, or maybe gets very overwhelmed and you're unsure how to approach it best or do the best for them to help them, or how to step into their world? Give me a message. I'll give you a call and I can talk you through step by step what you potentially could do. But everybody's situation is different, so the advice I would give to one person might be different to what I would give somebody else. But then that's the same as if you were giving advice to anybody about any situation in life. Everybody is there, what they need is going to be different from we Mary doll down the street. So never think just because one person, what works for one person doesn't work for you. That's okay. You just need to kind of choose a different path or look at it from a different angle. Maybe they're looking up the way and you need to look down the way. They're looking left, you need to look right. You know what I mean? Maybe it's not a box you need to look at. Maybe it's a circle or a triangle. I think I should become a rapper or something. I mean, I know that wasn't a rap, but I told my boys that I should be on stage. It was something we were watching last night or something we were talking about last night, and I just think I'm bloody hilarious. And I told the boys that last night, and they're like, "You're the only person that thinks that." I said, "See, when I'm on stage and everybody's laughing and it's sold out and blah blah blah, you're not saying that then." And they're like, "But it's not going to happen." Try me, son. Try me. Try me, my child. So I am going to prove my children wrong in 2025. Maybe not so much about being on stage, but just show them how funny I am. I am hilarious. I was going to say something there. Oh, and I'll let the cat out the bag. Zip it, lock it, throw away the key, and whatever. I can't even remember that wee thing that they used to say. But anyway, I'm going to go for now. And remember, for the next 9 days, I think it is, something like that, 10 days, there will be podcasts out every day at 7 a.m. Some will be audio only, some will be audio and visual. The visuals are on YouTube. I think up till now they've all been both, but obviously this one's only audio. There's one at least over the weekend, I'm sure, that's only audio. And then potentially 4 or 5 at least next week are going to be both, and a couple might be audio only, but I'm not sure because I've still got a few to record, and I will obviously keep you updated as the episodes go on. And remember, the 7 a.m. ones are out every day until Sunday the 5th. I was going to say March there. You're not getting them until March every day. I can't. I'm sorry. I definitely won't have a voice. The 5th of January. And then that will be the end of season 1. Then the following Wednesday, which is the 8th, is when season 2 will start. And that day they will go back to 7 p.m. every Wednesday. And I think on that episode, Danielle's coming on. But yes, I am off ski. I am going to don't even know what I'm going to do, but I need to go and do something. I need to tidy up. I need to sleep. It's what I need to do. So I am probably going to just get this edited, schedule it, because if I don't do that just now, it probably will just sit in the file waiting, and then it'll be like the day before and I'm like, oh dear, I forgot to schedule that, and then I'll need to do it. So I'm going to do that now while I've got my laptop on. Schedule this one to go out on Friday the 27th of December. So listening to this will all have had Christmas. It's weird, isn't it? I'm telling you, I'm going to start calling myself a doc. I'm going back and forth past the future to midlife crisis and menopause and everything on the one breath. Anyway, I'm talking rubbish now. I always talk rubbish, but some of the rubbish is good and some of the rubbish isn't that great. So I'm going to leave it for now. I will upload this to go out on the 27th, because you're listening to this, you should have already watched or listened to the 25th. So getting to 27th, 7 a.m. Hope you enjoy it. Don't know what I've spoke about because I think we've chopped and changed about 25 times. I mean, I've been bilingual and everything in this one. And I will speak to you all soon, and I maybe try and go on some kind of live at some point. But if anybody is struggling, please remember that you can just give me a wee message and I will get in touch with you as soon as I see your message, and we'll talk through anything that you might need. Speak to you all soon. Take care. Bye bye.